Hi guys, welcome to Storytime. Today we are going to continue with the book that we've been reading in, and the short story that I'm going to read right now is Piece of Cake. Alright. The Bitsy Farmer Rocky Mountain Cake Bake-Off had played host to many wonderful desserts over the past 10 years, but this was the first time it played host to a criminal. Bitsy stared at the 5 finalists and frowned. When she began the contest a decade ago, it was to help new chefs, but things had gotten ugly. Really ugly. Bitsy's skills in the kitchen had given rise to a multi-million-dollar cake mix company. Always the innovator, Bitsy used the Rocky Mountain Cake Bake-Off to encourage amateur cooks. The winner received $10,000, plus her recipe would be sold through Bitsy's company. But never before had Bitsy been faced with this dilemma. An anonymous phone caller had informed Bitsy that one of the remaining contestants was planning to sabotage her competitors. Not only was that unfair, but the scandal could hurt the integrity of the event, an integrity Bitsy had spent years building. Bitsy knew she had to figure out who the villain was before the competition was ruined. She walked over to contestant number 1, Susie Snow. The elderly Miss Snow reminded Bitsy of her grandmother, hair up in a gray bun and always smiling. "Hello, Mrs. Snow. What are you baking for us today?" Miss Snow grinned, showing off super white dentures. "My famous angel food cake with a fresh raspberry glaze. I have a secret ingredient passed down through 6 generations." "What is it?" Bitsy asked, curious. Miss Snow winked. "I'll only share it if I win." Bitsy wished her luck and walked through the kitchen studio over to contestant number 2, Maureen Hamilton. Maureen was Bitsy's age, but shorter and perpetually scowling. She looked to be in a mood when Bitsy approached. "The attitude is murderous," Maureen moaned. "It will be a miracle if this chocolate cake turns out. Plus, I don't think this oven is calibrated correctly. I don't want to lose because of faulty equipment." "I'll send a technician over to check it out," Bitsy said. She spoke into her walkie-talkie and asked someone to come by. Maureen frowned and kept mixing. Contestant number 3 was Maria Espinoza. She'd brought her teenage daughter to assist her, which the rules allowed. Both wore white latex gloves, which was definitely sanitary, but somewhat unusual. "This will be the best angel food cake you've ever eaten," Maria beamed. Bitsy noticed that Maria's daughter was opening a package of raspberries. "Are you making a raspberry glaze?" she asked. "Yes, I know that other lady is making a similar cake, but mine will be better. You'll see." Bitsy bid her good baking and moved on to the contestant number 4. Holly Doolittle. Holly was opening up packages of cream cheese, and Bitsy noted that her countertop was covered with graham cracker crumbs. "Bitsy! I'm so excited to meet you. You're my idol." "Thank you," Bitsy said, a little embarrassed. "I only hope my cake is half as good as yours. You've got to be the best baker in all of Colorado. Boy, I just love you." Bitsy endured a hug, then moved along to the final contestant, Georgia Peters. "Miss Peters, Shh." Georgia put a finger in front of her lips. "The first layer of my quadruple golden layer cake is in the oven. With this elevation, I can't take any chances." "Sorry," Bitsy whispered, somewhat mollified. "Good luck." "I don't need luck," Georgia whispered back. "This cake will win for sure." Bitsy's walkie-talkie squawked. Georgia shot Bitsy an evil look at the intrusive sound, and Bitsy hurried away. "What is it?" she asked into the radio. "We found something. It was Nikki James, Bitsy's assistant. You'd better come and look." Where are you? In the hospitality suite. Bitsy flew through the kitchen, down the hallway, and to the suite. When she arrived, Nikki was as pale as cake flour. It was under the sofa in a plain paper bag. She pointed to the table, and Bitsy gasped when she saw a gun laying next to a bowl of chips. When I became your assistant, I never knew I'd have to deal with anything more dangerous than a spatula, Nikki said. Who would bring a gun to a bake-off? Did you touch it? Bitsy asked. Nikki nodded. I didn't know what was inside, so I reached in. No name on the bag? It's just a regular paper lunch sack, Nikki said. How about on the gun? I didn't look close enough. Bitsy thought out loud. How long has the hospitality suite been open? It's been open all night. I know for a fact that every contestant has been in here, some several times. Bitsy rubbed her temples. She couldn't believe that one of the women she just met would commit murder just to win. Should we call the police? Nikki asked. Yes, we'll have to cancel the bake-off. The negative publicity will be devastating. I know, but there's nothing... Bitsy's voice trailed off when her eyes locked on the gun. There was something unusual about it. She crept closer to get a better look. This isn't a regular gun, she said. Look at the writing on the side. Nikki came over and read the word engraved into the stock. Starter pistol? What's that? It's used for races. It doesn't fire real bullets, only makes a loud noise. As the words left Bitsy's mouth, she smiled. Call security. I know who the saboteur is. So it says down here at the bottom, it says, who is the saboteur and how did Bitsy know? It said Bitsy believed Holly Doolittle had brought the starter gun. A loud noise, especially at the high altitude in the Colorado Rockies, would cause flour-based cakes to collapse. Holly was making a cheesecake, which would be unharmed by the loud bang, ensuring a win. Holly had bragged about her plan to her next-door neighbor, who placed the anonymous call to Bitsy. That's hilarious. Okay. Let's see. We'll do this one, Animal Attraction, and this will be the last one. The first annual Spokane Zoologist Convention ended on a very sour note. A murder. To make matters even worse, no one knew who the dead man was. I'm sure he's a registered zoologist, said the convention organizer, Dr. Myrna Simmons, who claimed she recognized the deceased from the day before. I checked him in at the reception table. I remember searching for his name tag, but for the life of me, I can't recall his name. The poor man. The victim was a handsome 40-something male wearing a blue suit and a red tie. His wallet was missing. A cheese knife pierced his back. It had apparently been taken from the hors d'oeuvres table. A napkin was wrapped around its handle, preventing the killer from leaving fingerprints. The body had been found lying face first on the coat room floor. One of the convention attendees had gone to hang up her jacket and almost tripped over him. Immediately afterward, the police had been called and the banquet hall sealed. No one was allowed to leave without permission from the authorities. Detective Robbie Walker personally checked the alibi of every person in attendance and was left with 4 remaining suspects. During the course of his investigation, Walker cross-referenced the guest list and discovered that there was 1 person too many in the banquet hall. Walker deduced that this convention crasher was the murderer, and he'd taken the dead man's name tag in an attempt to blend into the crowd and escape. None of the 4 suspects had any form of picture ID on them, and each was unable to confirm his identity. Walker needed to figure out who the imposter was. He approached the first man, an elderly fellow with a bushy white beard, who claimed to be Dr. Jordan McDermott. Dr. McDermott, what types of animals do you specialize in? Well, I study the duck-billed platypus, McDermott said, a bit too cheerfully considering the morbid circumstances. Its fur is among the softest in the world. It lays eggs, and after they hatch, it nurses its young. The male platypus is also poisonous. Quite an amazing animal. Walker was skeptical. Is all of that true? He asked the others. They each shrugged. Zoology has so many specialties, said Dr. Apol Patel, a tall, thin man with penetrating brown eyes. It's impossible to know everything about everything. What do you specialize in, Dr. Patel? Elephants. They can smell water from 3 miles away, and an elephant is the only animal that cannot jump. Really? It's true. Did you know that African elephants only have 4 teeth? I did not know that, Walker admitted. It sounded very suspicious. That's nothing, said Dr. Harry Reinsdorf, a fat man with thick round glasses. I'm a marine biologist, and I'm studying why sharks don't get cancer. Did you know that sharks can smell a drop of blood in the water from 5 miles away? And besides the 5 senses humans have, they also have an extra sense called the line of Lorenzo, which lets them detect electrical fields in the water. Walker felt a headache coming on. He didn't know if any of these outrageous facts were true or false. How about you? He asked. Dr. Mark Kessler. What do you specialize in? I unashamedly admit that I study cockroaches, Kessler said. His bulging eyes and brown suit made him look sort of like a cockroach himself. They're really fascinating creatures. Their blood is white, not red. They can hold their breath underwater for more than 10 minutes. And did you know a cockroach can live up to 2 weeks with its head removed? Oh, yuck, Walker said. The other suspects echoed the sentiment. Let's go over your stories again, McDermott, Walker said, turning to the platypus specialist. Where were you when the body was discovered? In the bathroom, McDermott said. I wasn't feeling very well. Too many libations last night. I tried a drink called a rusty nail. Vile stuff. How about you, Dr. Patel? Walker asked the pachyderm professor. I was on my cell phone, checking my voicemail. I'd gotten a message from the San Diego Zoo. Apparently, one of their elephants has elephant pox. And you, Dr. Reinsdorf? I was also on the phone, confirming my reservation tonight at an expensive Japanese sushi restaurant that serves sea cucumbers. They can be poisonous unless you remove the brain at the center. Walker said, yuck, again, and then asked, how about you, Dr. Kessler? I'm afraid I was just staring out the window, doing nothing at all. I'm not a very sociable person. Walker had no idea what to ask next, but fortunately, Dr. Myrna Simmons, the convention organizer, came hurrying over. Detective Walker, I've got that book you wanted. She handed him a copy of the Complete Encyclopedia of Animals. Walker thanked her, excused himself, and went into the other room for some fact-checking. He returned 10 minutes later, a broad grin on his face. With dramatic flourish, he pointed at one of the suspects. I've discovered that you are lying. I'm afraid you'll have to come downtown with me to answer some more questions. Okay, so it says here, which of the suspects was lying? It says the so-called shark expert. Walker discovered that sharks do in fact get cancer, that they can only smell blood in the water from a 1/4 mile away, not 5 miles, and that the sense that detects electricity is called the ampullae of Lorenzini, not the line of Lorenzo. He also discovered that sea cucumbers don't have brains. Therefore, their brains could not be poisonous, and the man must have been lying about his sushi restaurant reservations. Incredibly, all of the other facts, strange animal facts, were true. The imposter soon confessed that he had snuck into the convention and murdered Dr. Reinsdorf for having an affair with his wife. Interesting. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And that is going to end what I will be reading out of this book. Next time, it will be something different. So I hope you check back to see what it is. I hope you guys like this series so far. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever and wherever you are listening to this. Love and hugs. Bye, guys.